All right, let's get right to this. Basically, this is an important video because the commissioner, Martin O'Malley, just made it even better or more likely to be found disabled. They released this Social Security update basically June 24th, which is when I intended to do the video, but we're doing it on base. No, it's June 24th today, so it's still accurate. I was just working on it really, really late last night. Here's the bottom line. Instead of reading through the whole thing, I'm just going to tell you the basic, what you need to know. There are four main ways to be found disabled: compassionate allowance listings, grid outs, and vocational allowances. Vocational allowances, that's what we're going to be focusing on with this video. What is a vocational allowance? A vocational allowance is a way to be found disabled for SSI or SSDI benefits, right? Supplemental security income or Social Security disability insurance benefits. What it is, it's basically where they decide and find that all of your impairments combined equate to residual functional capacity limitations where you couldn't do jobs in the national economy at a full-time amount of work, right? You couldn't do a full-time job. So instead of it being one of those things where they just look at one impairment, they look at all of your impairments combined. And then from there, they go ahead and basically, begin this process of saying, okay, could they lift? Could they push? Could they pull? Could they crouch? Could they kneel? Could they stoop? They go through all these different RFC functions. So why is this relevant? Well, they just went through and said, okay, for element 5, which are the 5 elements of disability, right? Element 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For element 5, are there any other jobs in the national economy that this person could do? They just killed off a heck of a lot of jobs that could be considered. Now, here's why they're doing this. It makes it easier for people to be found disabled. It gives less ammunition to the vocational experts to proffer these jobs during the hearing. But at the end of the day, these jobs are disappearing. There's not enough of them in the national economy for us to actually expect that somebody should be able to do this job if they claim that they could do this job. So put another way, what happens is they look at the actual amounts of these jobs that are available in the national economy. They look at census data, job browser, all that kinds of stuff. And what they realize is that there's not enough of these jobs in different regions where they did the statistical analysis, reviews of how many of these jobs exist. So these jobs will not be proffered in the future by vocational experts to deny people, to say that they could potentially do these jobs. Like, they're gone. They're not going to be there in the future. I'm going to go through what these jobs are. But just to read you their quick paragraph here, our adjudicators, the SSA's adjudicators, the judges, the DDS reps, the ALJs, the AAJs, etc., may not support a not disabled determination. They can't find you not disabled. They can't deny you disability benefits by using these. Or decision under the framework of the medical vocational guidelines by citing any of the following occupations as examples of other work an individual can perform. We will remove an occupation from this list if we later determine that the occupational data demonstrates that it is no longer isolated. All right, so quick side note, here's like a pro tip. Here's why they're doing this. The SSA is pulling back from spending millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars a year on creating a new dictionary of occupational titles. It was super expensive. They're bleeding money. They're not getting results. It's still not finished. It was like halfway done the last time I checked in on it. Point is, they're just going to keep using the dictionary of occupational titles, which means that they have to start to shed away the jobs in the DOT that either are not done in enough, percentage numbers, right? So there's not enough people doing it. There's only like 4,000 people in the national economy doing it. There's only like 8,000 people in America doing it. There's not enough of that job currently going on, or they're getting rid of jobs that technologically just don't exist. We don't use microfilm anymore. Nobody cares about microfilm. We don't use like analog recording gear for audio. We don't do that. We still do it for video. We still have film for video, but we don't use it for audio. Okay. There's still some very few places that do it, but we're talking about like, what do you think? Like 100 people in the United States actually do that? Very, 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 very limited. I am now going to read to you all the jobs that will no longer be able to be given to you as a disabled person to claim that you're not disabled. Okay, so these jobs are off the list. They cannot use these jobs against you. I'm going to read through them used to find you not disabled as part of element 5 of the 5 elements of disability, right? SGA, 12-month, listing level, past relevant work, RTSW, relevant transferable skilled work. These jobs, other types of skilled work. Here we go. Agricultural engineer, agricultural research engineer, design engineer, agricultural equipment, test engineer, agricultural equipment, astronomer, geographer, which is sad because we're losing all of our farm jobs. Geographer, physical, psychologist, engineering, psychologist, industrial organization, director, state historical society, genealogist, historian, dramatic arts, director, research, oral, and maxillofacial surgeon, prosthodontist, airline radio operator, chief, dispatcher, radio officer, radio station operator, radio telegraph operator, radio telephone operator, photo radio operator. Yeah, so basically any radio jobs are over. It's all GPS and Digi at this point. So like the whole, there's still a little bit of stuff in the aviation field, but for the most part, it's all GPS, and it's a very different. We don't use like radio-esque stuff for the most part anymore. Radio intelligence operator, electronic intelligence operations specialist, wire transfer clerk, central office operator, clerk, route, directory assistance operator, telegrapher agent, right? We don't use telegraphs. Pay station attendant, wire photo operator, news. Although pay station attendant, I have to look that up because that kind of sounds like a payday place, but I'll look it up later. We're almost halfway there. Let's see, model, impersonator, character. Well, yeah, I guess models are out. Apparently, there's not enough models anymore in America, which is ironic because so many women and men are models, but I guess it's just not a paying field like it used to. I've always wondered about that because remember when Victoria's Secret did their thing where they're no longer having their angels? It's interesting because like that whole industry really just, I think, dove down and had a difficult time because women just didn't want to be oohed and awed over by the men. And, as a result, the industries weren't able to successfully sell women on like how they should look pretty, and stuff like that. So I think it's an interesting transition that happened with that. Nicole, thank you for the $5 donation. That's awesome. She said, hi, I have a quick question. Does being at 57% in DDS mean anything like a possible approval? No, it doesn't mean possible approval. Just means that you're limping along the process, trying to basically get to the point where they get you 100%. 100% in disability land is not the same as the VA thing. All it is it's saying this is where you're at in the process. Remember that whole claimant, timeline thing. It's usually very wrong and off and not very good. So bottom line is it just means you're not really that far down the line. You're about halfway there. You got to keep going. So doesn't mean likely approval at all. Okay, so character, impersonator, cook, embalmer, apprentice, embalmer, scuba diver, animal breeder, fur farmer. Yeah, so basically anything ranch or farm related, gone. We've destroyed that whole industry in this country, especially the milk industry. The past 3 years have been the collapsing market for farming. And then it also got super expensive because now, due to the cost of diesel and the really few farmers that are left, just a bale of hay, like a square bale or a big round bale, it's just the price skyrocketed. It's hay. It's just cut grass with rope around it, and it's terrible. Like, if you guys were thinking that like Biden was for farmers, it's like the exact opposite. He was the destruction of that industry. Fur farmer, livestock rancher, hog confinement system manager, canary breeder, poultry breeder, reptile farmer, fire warden, fire lookout, fire ranger, log grader, log scaler. That's because a lot of our forests are gone. Ladle liner, stopper maker, clay structure builder and servicer, loft worker. Also with the logging industry, it's just major corporations that own the forests at this point. So when it comes to logging, like a lot of that wood that comes from it is just from families who have last names that you would recognize. Like they just own vast swaths of land that are used to pull down all the logs, and a lot of those are just owned by like mega ultra rich family last names. Stopper maker, clay structure builder and servicer, loft worker, pattern maker apprentice, pattern maker, and this is all for wood, pattern maker apprentice wood, pattern maker wood, model maker wood, stitcher special machine, stitcher standard machine, stitcher tape controlled machine. So basically any manufacturing jobs, farm jobs, We don't as a country even have enough of these people to even consider them as potential jobs for you to be denied disability to say that you could do that job. Aircraft photographic equipment mechanic, camera repair, machinist, motion picture equipment. And that's another thing too. The film industry is like, a lot of those jobs don't exist anymore. And that's because there's so few companies that can actually make films. Like, we had a boom for a while there where there was like a lot of people trying to make films and do, all these things. Now it's all gone YouTube, which means everything's, phones on your, or basically these action cameras, or like black magic cameras, which are like mini cinema cameras. So like the whole film industry of having like somebody work on an ARRI camera or this camera or that, or a Panavision camera, that whole world is like super small now. There's hardly anybody that does that stuff. Machinist, motion picture equipment, photographic equipment technician, photographic equipment maintenance technician, service technician, computerized photo finishing equipment, watch repair apprentice, assembler watch, train, banking pin adjuster, barrel assembler, barrel bridge assembler, barrel end shake adjuster, chronometer assembler and adjuster, chronometer balance and hairspring assembler. So basically watches, obviously pens and watches in the future, they're going to largely be taken out of the world that exists. You'll be seeing realtors and attorneys with watches, but other than that, nobody's going to be using watches. Hairspring assembler, hairspring vibrator, pallet stone inserter, pallet stone positioner, watch assembler, repair, auto clocks, timing adjuster, jig builder, thread laster, field service engineer, paper hanger. We're almost through them all. Bill poster, boiler reliner plastic block, dredge operator, terrazzo worker. So another thing that's becoming more and more limited is how many people actually do blue collar oriented work. So when it comes to like house construction stuff, etc., what happened is a lot of mega construction companies bought out the smaller construction companies, and as a result of that, you only have so many crews, and those are like the only people who do that stuff, and they just go around and mass produce the same sorts of buildings over and over and over and over and over and over again. But there's not lots and lots of little companies. Now it's just one big company, and they basically just timeline out when these workers are going to be at different locations. So you just don't have as many workers, which is really cut down and also increase the price on being able to get these types of construction-oriented jobs done when you're outside one of those corporations. Okay, terrazzo finisher, diver, bond actor, machine operator, tower operator, yard engineer, car. I don't even want to say this one on YouTube because even though it is a medical term, even though it is used in other ways, it's just like, they'll hurt the video with that. So laborer, car barn, hostler, I don't even know. I'll go railroad industry. Okay, yeah. A lot of these are all railroad. Yeah, all railroad industry stuff here. Transfer table operator, hostler. I don't even know what a hostler is. Motorboat operator, dinky operator. Let's see, dockhand, transmobile operator, roof bolter, power reactor operator, motion picture projectionist, audiovisual technician, model, photographers, and model artists. So basically anything in the modeling industry, the numbers of them has just significantly dropped. So here's what you need to know going forward. They are trying to revamp and make valid the Dictionary of Occupational Titles. They've got to get rid of all the jobs that don't make sense anymore, where there's not enough people practicing them, because they can't claim that you as a person seeking disability benefits can go find one of those jobs if those jobs don't exist in enough numbers. Remember, if it's under 10,000 available in the national economy, you should be objecting to it. If it's over 10,000, there's some wiggle room there. Some courts have held, yes, it's okay. Some courts have held under 12,000 isn't enough jobs. So, that. Deb Carter, thank you for the $10 donation. That's absolutely awesome. Very, very cool. Also, Nicole, again, thank you for that $5 donation. And Nicole, again, for the first $2 donation. That's absolutely awesome. Very, very cool. So with that said, this is going to make it easier for people to be found disabled because it takes a whole 100+ jobs out of the potential of being used to deny people. Now, these are not, for the most part, the most common jobs that they use to deny people, but still, every time they remove a job, it's not like they're adding jobs, so they keep reducing the number of jobs that they can use to deny you. So this is a really cool move. There's another person basically at the door. I'm going to catch you guys a little bit later. Please remember to like and subscribe. Also, head to Google, Disability Resolution. Throw some stars up on the board. I'll catch you a little bit later, but remember, I go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you want to hire me for a private hour, there's a little mini contract below. I'll catch up with you a little bit later, and I'll do the final video in about 10 to 15 minutes. Thanks so much. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.